How to use dried watercolour paint. That's what this video is all about. It's a problem that we all face, particularly when we are involved in a detailed painting that can take several hours, and sometimes several days or even weeks to complete. After each session, we'll return to the palette of dried up paints. Now the beauty about watercolours is that when the paints are dry, you can reuse them even a day later, a week later, a month or two later, even longer than that. Because all you need to do is reactivate them with a little bit of water. So drop a little bit of water in there, look, something like that. And then I can reuse that paint. So let's get some testing paper a minute. Some scrap watercolour paper, as you can see there, look. And test it out. So it works fine. But the only problem is when you re-wet the paints, then you find it will just dilute that colour down again. So when you had probably, I don't know, creamy consistency or milky consistency paint, then you find that the paint is, well, as you can see, very watery. Yes, it depends how much water you add to the paint as well. You might just want to add a little bit of water to one side, like that, and make it watery. Grab some more of the pigment, which is obviously nice and dry in there, to make it milky consistency. And grab even more of that pigment, about there, to make it very creamy. And it's probably a similar colour actually, that one, isn't it? Really creamy. That's better, that. So that's one way you could do it, but it's not ideal really if you want to load that brush up fully, because that means you're going to have to mix all of this up again. Now some of these colours are actually two colours or three colours mixed together, and trying to get the same colours is not always easy, is it? And you think, oh no, I need to remix some of that colour because I haven't got quite enough there. And you think, no, that's okay, just get that colour right. What I do, bring that down there so you can see it, is make a colour swatch of all the colours that I've got within my mixing wells there, look. And my members get a copy of this as well on my website when they go to paint this line. It's not finished yet, so we've got the darker tones to go on there and the highlights as well. We're kind of halfway there, you know, so it's not too bad at the moment. Quite enjoying it. Now if you'd like a blank copy of this palette outline, I'll drop a link in the description down below so you can download it for your own use. Because I make these colour charts, I can compare the colour, which I'm going to remix, to the original colour I've got on there. I'll show you what I mean. Let's just wash my size 00 brush out. That's what I always use for my paintings, for my detail work at least. Now, let's have a look at this one. What's that one there? And that particular one, as you can see here, is my dark colour, which is nearly black, of viridian green and alizarin crimson. So if I re-wet that area there, let's put a drop of water in there using my pipettes, and re-wet it. Just one drop of water, that's all I've used, and straight away, well, I wanted this creamy really, and that's more of a sort of milky consistency. So it's not dark enough. And with all watercolours, we know watercolours dry a little bit lighter, don't they? Okay, so bear that in mind when you're working with it. So I need to remix that a little bit more. So I'm going to go for viridian green, which is this little one over here. Okay, so viridian green. And straight away, that's gone more towards the green side, as you can see there. So a little bit too green, but I need a little bit more, so I want to thicken it down slightly. So viridian green, maybe a touch more. You've got to be careful when you wash that brush out in between colours. What will happen is that you have water within inside that metal ferrule, and because of that, you find it will drip down inside the metal ferrule into your mixing well, diluting that colour again. So make sure you take most of that water off before, it wasn't even clean, before you go back to your colour, okay? You can see the state of my kitchen roll here. Now that's looking a little bit thicker now, so much better. So wash that brush out, and the other colour, if you remember, on my chart there, was alizarin crimson. Let's have a look at that one next. So alizarin crimson, that little beastie there, we'll pop that one in. Quite a strong colour, really is. So try that one first of all, but I still think it's probably a touch too green in there. Okay, remember we're going to compare that to our guide there as well. And you can see that's too green, right, far too green. Which means I still need a little bit more of the alizarin crimson in there. Because alizarin crimson and viridian green, as I mentioned, makes a nice dark colour. And there's other combinations as well for dark colours that you can get. Tell you what I'll do, I'll pop a little link to the top right hand corner of the screen for you, all about mixing black, okay? Have a look at that when you watch this video. Quite an interesting one to go through as well, actually. Instead of just using just normal black, which I use occasionally as well. If you're interested in becoming a member and painting this lion, I'll pop a card to the top right with some information, and also a link in the description below as well. I'd love to welcome you as a member in my online school. That's got a touch more green in my sample there. So to bring it back, I'm going to get a tiny amount more of viridian green, pop that in, and let's change it just marginally, maybe a little bit more. We'll try that one. That is looking much better. But what happens when you need to remake a triple mix? Let's say, for example, I wanted to redo this one. You know, that one, if I turn that in the same angle as my palette there, that is going to be Scarlet Lake, alizarin crimson, and cadmium orange. So I'm going to mix a triple colour. That's even harder to get right, isn't it, when you've got a triple colour? So here we go, ready for this? First thing we need to do is obviously drop a little bit of water in there, like that. Just one drop should do it. And we know that's quite a rich colour. But again, this is probably at the moment more of a, what would you say, more of a milky consistency. Not too bad though, not too bad at all. And if I wanted to get that creamy, again, what I'd have to do is remix those colours once more. So let's go for Scarlet Lake first of all. I used a little bit of this colour in the nose, by the way, out of interest. So Scarlet Lake, which is this one here, we'll pop that one in. A little bit more. Sometimes you don't have to wash that brush out because the colour is very similar to what's within your half pan. And you think, well, I can get away with not washing the brush out for that one. So Scarlet Lake, that's the first one. The second one, as you can see on my chart, is alizarin crimson. Alizarin. That's quite a rich colour. It's probably too much. Whoa, don't know. Might be, might not. But you can see the way this runs down the side of the palette, not that way. The side of the palette really slowly. That tells me that it's nearly creamy. That's how I tend to go off the kind of guide, really, looking at that. Just mop this one up here. I don't want that running into my white area. And also, we have cadmium orange, which is this one here. Again, another rich colour. We'll pop that one in. And that is nearly creamy. Not quite. Probably in between milky and creamy consistency. But I think that should probably do. And again, what you would do is test that out. Let's get the edge of a card. I find it's easier on the edge of a card to test it, because you can compare it straight away. And that is quite close, isn't it? So a little bit more alizarin crimson in there. We'll try that. And we'll try that one. Now that's quite close. Maybe a touch more of the cadmium orange. You will obviously have to do a lot of fine adjusting until you get your mix close enough to the original. So you can see the process is the same, and having a swatch of your original mix to compare to is the vital part. Because as long as you've got it to match your mixing palette, as you know, then you can't go far wrong, really. What I do when I mix the colour, I make a little kind of colour notes. Otherwise, you know yourself, it's very easy to forget the combination of colours that you've used. And also to have a guide to kind of mix back to again is very, very handy. Now, if you want some more tips and tricks on working with watercolours, have a look at the video to the top right. I'll see you there.